Good morning, everyone. Mayang buntag, mayang hapon, mayang gabi, no matter where you are in the world. Cindy's just downstairs finishing up the last little bit of breakfast. She'll be up shortly. Now, I figured out how to do this one at a time. There we go. Yeah, you'll have to bear with me just a second. I'm going back through and trying to message and share this with friends. And like most things in my life, pretty much everything's new daily. I don't remember how to do things from day to day. That we are in day three of the COVID mess, all that fun stuff, and it's it's kind of silly, it's kind of crazy, but it is what it is, also. And I can't find my page. Oh, there it is. There we go. Now I'll figure it out. There we go.
Coffee.
Oh, so my coffee delivery. Oh yeah, I forgot those two. I was wondering why everything's kind of blurry. Hey, I can see what I'm doing now. All right, I guess I'm not sharing it with anybody today.
What happened?
I'm trying to figure out where to send. Oh, inbox. There we go. Yeah, like I said, you'll have to excuse me. Life is new to me pretty much daily. Actually, uh, it's not terribly different today than it was yesterday, at least here in Cebu. And granted, here in Cebu, uh, it's not going to be the same in Bohol or anywhere else in the Philippines, but it is. It's kind of crazy at times. There we go. Okay. Okay, I'm cooking with gas here now. We're getting this figured out slowly. You'll have to excuse me. And Cindy's actually writing out our schedule for the day for the week. We forgot to do that Sunday night.
I'm gonna think.
There we go. I'm done. I'm back.
See,
You have my full undivided attention.
while it's still very busy.
That it it's kind of silly. It's kind of crazy. Uh, you were with me most of the walk yesterday. There was no checkpoints. There was no.
The fan is creating background noise.
Was there?
The fan.
Really?
could turn it off for now.
Because the fans.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the fans actually not even in the room today.
It's so close, Daddy.
There was no checkpoints. There was no. There you go. Is that better?
Hi, David.
Good morning, Mr. David. How are you doing today? I don't see a significant difference. I talked with a couple people that were out and about yesterday, and they said they really didn't see any significant checkpoints. Although,
You throw this away.
yeah,
Oh, one. Sorry.
last week's schedule. Although I guess some of the, and seeing some posts on Facebook, some of the checkpoints that had never been physically removed are being remanned. But there used to be one right in front of the police station that I walked in front of yesterday. Huh.
Might be your.
Give me a second. Let me hear this humming noise. I might be able to figure out what the humming noise is that way.
It might be your turning on the. Yeah, it's not this. Can you hear it? I turn off the volume.
No, it's still there. Okay. I'm not sure what it is. It might be the mic.
It's not from here, no?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's the mic itself. And I need to do a couple of things. And every time I've tried that, I've lost the stream in the audio.
Did you put the electric fan here? Sorry about that. That is turning.
Yeah, this microphone is a Filipino quality microphone. It's inexpensive. It gets the job done, but it's not great quality. And oh, it stopped. It might be connections then. It might be connections in the wires. Okay. But again, a lot of it is just exactly that. It's Filipino quality. It gets the job done, but it's not the best or highest quality thing. My apologies if it continues. I am going to set this up a little bit better here over since we ain't got a whole lot of work to do, a whole lot of places to go this week. Set it up a little bit better over this week. I'm actually doing some B-roll type video of what we're doing during the week, and I'll either post it Thursday or a bonus video like Saturday or something like that. It is to what week 1 quarantine, days 1 through 7, and just kind of show. But yesterday, the owner of this place stopped by, and him and I got talking about a couple things that I wanted to do. And he suggested Wilcon, which is in Palisade from here, about 3-4 miles from here. It's not terribly far, but it's in Palisade. It's in a different place, and there typically is a checkpoint right there at the Wilcon. So I may grab Rusi and just run down there, and that way, if there is, I can get turned around before going through the checkpoint. I may take Sunshine and just go. And when they ask why I'm out, I just show them the parts and I need to get them fixed. I need to get my toilet fixed. And work on that. And I can't, I can't, do any more than that. So I don't know.
No,
It's,
I'm just laughing with my comments.
oh.
Maybe I can't hear it because I'm so far away from you. David said, Kuya Steve said it's David Brown. I'm too. I'm in Chicago.
It's, now, one of the other people I know made comment that they're going through the 9A right now, and it looks like they're going to be able to get in. So I don't know. I hadn't. Maybe. And at this point, it changes by the hour almost. You said something about the international flights to and from Cebu were being canceled, didn't you? So I don't know. It time will. And Amazing Philippines posted a video yesterday that I went and checked out. It seems Singapore is treating COVID no different than the seasonal flu. They went down and called it a seasonal flu. So that I guess from reading a couple of different articles, I guess they're even going to stop keeping tally of it. So that's getting crazy worldwide. But all I can really significantly worry about is what's going on here in my backyard at the moment. My sister was saying Washington stock shutting down again. And believe it or not, that was a big reason that our Philippines, getting depressed at every new news briefing. That was actually a part of the reasoning why Singapore is going to the seasonal virus. They want to get things open back up, and at the stress that these shutdowns, restrictions, and everything else. Cindy monitors the live stream as well, so that she gets a view just exactly what you guys see. And that's how I know when this counter drops back down to zero, that it's not right. But so
Don't just try to peel them.
welcome to our life.
Sorry. Get distracted.
But that get the depression and the frustration and the aggravation, that they call it restriction weary or something like that, and the one news article called it battle weary at this point. That they're saying that at this point it's endemic, that it's not going to go away. It's not going to be any different than the measles or the seasonal flu or any one of 1,000 other virus that do periodically go around. So they're going to move on with life, reopen, and go back to encouraging the typical seasonal flu thing. If you're in a high risk group, get a flu shot. And whether or not you get a flu shot, keep clean, keep your hands away from your mouth and face and all that good stuff. And just take normal, reasonable precautions that you would take any other flu season.
I'm trying to wake up.
Cindy's having a slow morning.
I'm here moral support.
and I appreciate that. But uh, actually, from a fair amount of that, I belong to a Cebu foreigners news group or something like that. I belong to a couple of different foreign groups here in Cebu City, and several of them are making comments. That there's not a whole lot of difference. The malls, the public transit, everything else is open. They are asking you about a little bit more. They are being a little bit more strict about wearing the face mask and shield. We haven't went out together yet, but we do plan on trying to go to Cebu Ayala today and kind of get an idea of what's going on there. Cindy kind of wants to do some baby clothes shopping.
But I'm worried. I'm not able to get in. So I might just need to wait.
Well, and that's what I'm thinking. We can probably take sunshine, just go down to the garage like we would, and just try and go in through one of the garage entrances, and see what it is. It should be a little bit less crowded. And by going in through one of the garage entrances, I think they're going to view it as a little bit differently than if you just walked out. And this is one of those things that right, wrong, indifferent, whatever, it's just the way it is. But here in Philippines in general, and in Cebu, what we're experiencing, social class means a lot. And so if you come in by the garage entrance, you're probably on your own four-wheeled vehicle, not just a motor scooter. And so you're going to be looked at a little bit different than someone that would just walk up through a jeepney or even somebody that comes in by a scooter. And I've kind of noticed that the doors down below are way less stringent or guarded than the doors going in at street level. And like I say, right, wrong, or indifferent, that's just the way it is. And so I'm thinking going in through those doors would probably stand the best chance of getting in unhindered.
No comment.
But and again, that's not meant to say it negatively or positively or anything else. It's just recognizing what it is. That I guess quite a few of the checkpoints are checking scooters but waving cars through. So I don't know. And it's one of these things that you can fret and fuss about it all you want. You're not going to change it. Live with it, adapt to it, and deal with it. If you can't, go someplace else. But Cindy's heading for morning constitutional. I think Pumpkin likes to sit on her bladder. But in all honesty, like I say, other than the walk yesterday, I didn't do a whole lot of exploring. We were supposed to have some work done here at the condo by the owner, and he asked if we were going to be around when the guy could do it when he was free. And so we kind of hung out for the rest of the day here. Whether or not we go to Ayala, and there's a chance we may not. It just kind of depends on how Cindy's feeling. I do need to get down to Julie's bake shop, and get some bread. And there are a couple other things that I kind of want to try and do. And especially if we don't go to Ayala, I will go down today and try to get into Wilcon and see what happens. Matter of fact, I'm going to make sure GoPros are fully charged, both of them, and I'll do a moto vlog of me heading no matter where we're going to be heading. just to kind of see what the road difference between before and after is, before MECQ and after. The way we go to Ayala, there's one area that may have a checkpoint added. And so I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work, or if we may need to get rerouted to get into Ayala. Because when we first got here and the checkpoints were up, and most of the checkpoints were up, the way we would normally go into Ayala was shut down, and you had to go around. Fortunately, I got Google. Google's real good about getting me around crap like that. And so if they did reset that checkpoint and did shut down that little section for traffic, I can get around and figure out a back way in, and there is a couple. If I have to go down to Wilcon, like I said, I may take Brucey because it's slightly more maneuverable than Sunshine is. But either way, if we don't go to Ayala, I will go to Wilcon and figure it out from there. And yeah, I'm getting a little distracted. The views are a little bit different. And she just got a message, so I'm just kind of catching that out of the corner of my eye. My apologies. The mayors and Gwen, the majority of the mayors and Governor Gwendolyn Garcia was pretty much unanimous in they really didn't see the sense in doing this. Lapu-Lapu City, they did have a little bit more of an uptick in case surge, whatever you want to call it. And so that they voluntarily did it. The mayor over there did it a couple days before the IATF came in. And this is just pure supposition on my part. This is in my humble opinion only, however you want to qualify that statement. I can kind of see this current situation, this current scenario, as being a face-saving move on everybody's part. That Gwen and the mayors, although they don't really agree with it, agreed to doing an MECQ, but more in name only. Now, the only ones I'm getting are here, but I'll periodically go back through and look at some of the other ones. And if I don't remember answering them, I will answer them as well. At this point, I'm just trying to give an idea of what I saw, what I'm thinking is going on with the current situation. The IATF is the federal agency that came in, and they're the ones that are really screaming for all of this lockdown crap and all that silliness. They were the ones that gave Gwen such a hard time and kind of backed Duterte into a corner to agree with their line when Gwen wanted to do a slightly more expedited version of an entry procedure at the airport. And when Gwen wouldn't back down, it kind of backed Duterte a little further in the corner, so he had to not back down. That's what instigated the problem up until that they finally got it resolved, and Gwen begrudgingly accepted that it's going to have to be done their way. Morning, Mr. Daniel. How you doing today? How's summer life in Canada? Did you get moved into your new place yet? It sometimes takes me a minute to realize where everybody is and all this good stuff that I don't have a terribly great memory on like that. And that one I know I've said in the past. But anyways, Uh, is Canada going through lockdowns with this Beta, Delta, Gamma, whatever virus version? I know some areas in the U.S. are actually talking real heavy about going back into the lockdown mode. Singapore is saying that they're getting back to normal and just calling a stinking thing a seasonal flu. And you're getting pretty much every reaction across the board from major lockdowns to, we're tired of this. We're just going to move back. We're just going to move on with life. And so I don't know. It's getting silly all over. Uh, I guess Arizona threw the gates wide open again, and it is flat out said that they will not do lockdown face masks again, and they will not require vaccinations now or in the future. Okay, I'm gonna ask first. What have you been hearing on that? Because there's a couple, three different issues that the hospitals have been kind of working with. So I'm kind of curious which one in particular you're asking about. That it most of this, from what I'm seeing, hearing locally, isn't as bad as a lot of places are saying. So a lot of the news agencies are doing the typical news agency thing. And reporting the worst of the situation and not the overall situation, which the overall situation is really actually newsworthy. Uh, Now, I haven't heard of lineups to get in general. I have heard of people lining up and doing car side delivery and a few other things for oxygen. Now that I have heard of, but it's just to get for people that need oxygen, that they are getting a run on people that need oxygen, and for whatever reason, there's being a run on oxygen prescriptions. So that part, yes, there is some legitimacy too. Uh, but I'm not sure if this is what's causing it or if it's just a combination of factors, because that actually came out a few days before the lockdown came into effect. Uh, I Sitting here, I've known of one person in the entire time we've been here that's genuinely gotten COVID here in Cebu province. And that's personally known, and so there's a ton of people here that I don't know. There's only a small handful that I do. So I'll qualify that one as well. Uh, I'm not sure when stereotypical flu season is here in the Philippines. I know it's at a different time of the year in tropical countries than it is in like the U.S. and Canada, and I know it's at a different time than like in New Zealand in the southern continent countries. Uh, from what I'm seeing in New Zealand, it's probably close to the same seasonal time frame, just a 6 month offset. But I don't see a huge spike in counts. The actual numbers are down lower than they were like 60 days ago. Uh, that I looked at the Google info on, and this, granted, this is Google info, so take it for what it's worth. What was funny is if you go back and look at not just the case count, the test rate, test positive rate, but look at the number of tests here in the last 60 days, the number of tests given have skyrocketed. They've went up significantly as well. And so, yeah, if you're testing a much larger segment, you're probably going to find a lot more. And so it could be, very legitimately a case demic where, it's people. And the one thing that I haven't been hearing too much lately about, that I am very curious about, is whether or not they're symptomatic cases, whether or not they're people that are actively showing symptoms or just simply testing positive. And I know there's been a ton of discussion on that about, even if you're not showing symptoms, you can still spread it, yada, yada, yada. But if you're not sick but test positive, does that mean you have a less severe strain that probably wouldn't be bad to get passed around? I don't know. And again, if you're testing positive and have absolutely no symptoms, what are the odds that it was just a false positive? Because most of these that test positive, even if they're asymptomatic, are not being verified. They're just being accepted as a positive case. And so I don't get it. I'm waiting for things to go back to normal and for the rest of the world to start following Singapore's lead and just accept this as an endemic flu that's here to stay. Take reasonable common sense precautions and move on with life. And yeah, Daniel, that I will hugely agree with you on that one, that it's been going in circles for 18 months now, basically. Yeah, that I remember when Trump and Fauci were on, we just need to shut down for a couple of weeks to flatten the curve. And that was in March of, a year and a half ago now. I don't know. The one thing I have I've talked to, a few people about, a few medical people about, even, and try to get their input and understanding. The bubonic plague has been around. That was the Black Death in the Middle Ages. It's been around since the 1200s, I believe. And periodically, you still have outbreaks of it. And I don't believe it's treatable now, but I don't believe it's curable. And that is part of my issue with this, especially in the U.S. is they're using those numbers to pad the numbers. That there is no medical procedure, whether it's a simple test or whatever, that is 100% foolproof, and there will be false positives. And I've gotten this part from a reliable source, but I don't know entirely everything about it. But the standard test that's being used is actually supposed to be a screening test, meaning that there's enough evidence that you need to submit to further testing to identify the exact type of coronavirus you've got and the strain if it is COVID-19. but it is not a definitive test. All it's testing for is the COVID virus. And the COVID virus, there is a ton of different strains. If you remember that SARS virus that came out a few years ago, that's another COVID virus. That there's other COVID viruses. Uh, and I've tried again to explain this to people that saying COVID is kind of like saying dog. That there's dogs, but there's 1,000 different kinds of dogs. We're talking about COVID-19 being a Chihuahua, and with if you look and run a quick test, it's got 4 legs and a tail and a snout. It barks. It must be a dog. Okay, you have a dog. Well, we're looking for people with Chihuahuas. Well, he has a dog, so that's good. No, we're looking for people with Chihuahuas, not dogs in general. Chihuahuas. We'll look closer at his dog and determine if it's a Chihuahua. And yeah, there is way too much problems with a lot of these going on, and I truly believe that they're hugely padding these numbers just to help instigate the regulations that justify the regulations that they want to put. Yeah, and that's getting crazy because now you're talking about the difference between a long-haired Chihuahua and a standard Chihuahua. So they're both Chihuahuas, but one's just kind of a subgroup of the other. And they're not really a whole lot of difference. Now, why are we all of a sudden, calling COVID, a huge class of things, a long-haired Chihuahua? I don't know. And this is our Philippines. That's just exactly it. That if you bark, you must be sick. So, uh, it's kind of a running joke at this point. But if I start coughing or make a couple coughs, I'll pull out the pack of cigarettes, say, "Not COVID, not COVID." It's a 40-year smoker. That usually generates a laugh. And, yeah. Anyways, but it just, and that's just it. You cough in public anymore, and people look at you weird. Uh, it, again, back to the plague issue and stuff like that. There are diseases that have been around for centuries that still aren't gone. We've learned to control them. We've learned what to do to help keep them at bay, but they're still here. Uh, we've learned to control the ants around here and do everything we can to keep them out of the house. But we're never going to eradicate the ants in this compound, let alone in the Philippines. So we've given up. We haven't given up trying to. We never really did try to eradicate all of them. But we have made peace with the fact that they're going to be here. We just keep an eye out for them. Anytime we see them, we take the proper precautions and make sure that they're do everything we can to make sure not to attract. We're going to need to do the exact same thing. I did, and it kind of worked. Not entirely sure why, but it did kind of work. Uh, Now I just got to figure out how to outline the entire compound or entire townhome in chalk. Right now, Daniel, that right now it's scheduled for August 1st to the 15th. Yes, and he's speaking, making peace with the situation. She said she's a little tired, so she's gonna go take a nap.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm losing my monitor.
Are you gonna?
Oh, no, I'm teasing you.
I'm tired.
She didn't seem to sleep really well last night, but she was up. She had a hard time waking up this morning, so that's why I'm saying I'm thinking the trip we were planning on to Ayala may not be happening. But and if that happens, like I say, I'll just swing down to Wilcon and Palisade and check that out. Uh, we found some other stuff. Oh, I know where it's at. It's downstairs. We found this stuff on Lazada. That's it's in a syringe type applicator, and it's a bait. It's a slow acting poison and bait. So again, it's something they take back to the nest and hopefully will eradicate a large population, if not the entire nest. In the bathroom, we had foraging ants all over the bathroom sink frequently. You go in there and there'd be 15 of them on the sink, but you could never see where they were coming from. That there was no line or anything. That's why I'm calling them foraging ants. Why they kept foraging the sink, I have no stinking idea. I tried pouring vinegar down the drain if they were coming down the drain, and that's not where they were coming from. Uh, yeah, I'm getting a call from Arizona. Uh, oh, very cool. Uh, I got a tooth that the crown fell out that I told you guys about the other day, and that's what that message was about, not the phone call, the message. They said they've got an available schedule on August 12th at 9 a.m. So August 12th, I'm not sure what day of the week that actually is, but August 12th, I don't think I'm going to be doing a live stream that day. Uh, Although I would rather be doing a live stream than actually going and getting out. Oh, it's next Thursday. Not day after tomorrow, but next week Thursday. So I'm gonna go have that extracted. Uh, that but anyways, we did that. I'm sorry, squirrels are all over for me, and I tend to. That's the hard part for these live streams. I need to get a teleprompter, but that wouldn't work for me either. I'd get distracted and pause the teleprompter. But anyways, the bait that we got in the bathroom, our bathroom, I put a couple of says to put a 3 millimeter. Yeah, I think it's a 3 millimeter. It said to put a little short line in a couple places. That's thank you for helping me keep back on track. We went from quarantine to ants. Yeah, these chats often wind up going from interesting topic to interesting topic. Which reminds me, there's another topic I want to ask you guys about since I do have fair amount of you guys. But we put some each side of it, and at one point, we did notice them coming from an outlet. The cover that there's a small hole right by the cover of the outlet, and so I put a little bit on each side of it, and a little bit by the outlet. And it took about the first day that they were noticeably less, but after about 3 days, we stopped seeing them all together. And so I'm thinking that's actually working pretty well to the point, there was a couple holes that I went through and put a little bit of a silicone in, but there was one recent outbreak downstairs that we noticed that I tried that on there. I cleaned up within about a foot of the hole, so I didn't disturb it too much, but that destroyed any of the scent trail, that pheromone trail that they put to where they were going and feeding, and that broke the chain, but there was still a bunch up by the hole, and so I put that uh, bait there by the hole, and we saw a fair amount go for the bait, and then 4 or 5 hours later they disappeared, and I haven't seen them back since. So did they take it back to the nest? I don't know. I'll have to look for Rip Curl. That I keep on trying to remember to look this stuff up after the live stream, but I never can remember it. So while I'm here, I'm actually going to take a picture of that comment so that I'll have it on the photo. One of these days, I need to sit here with a pen and paper and write notes on time codes when we start changing topics horribly like this. That it could be interesting to see the different topics that we hit. And also that way on the description page, I can put chapter notes that if somebody does want to go something through, it gives them a better way to go through and actually find that particular point where they're interested. But the other thing is we did two of these. We did two in the past. Both of them were the unlimited because the first one was free and the second one, if you scheduled it, was free. But would anybody here, in this one, even if you just been sitting in the background, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, thumbs down, even. Just would anybody here be interested in continuing the once a month Zoom call sessions, like on the third? I think we did the first two on the third Monday of the month. Third Monday here, which I believe is Sunday night back there, so that way in the U.S. I think it'd be Monday afternoon in the Philippines, in New Zealand, so that kind of a reasonable time for everybody. So if any of you guys would be interested in doing something like that, it would be something I wouldn't mind doing. If we continue it with Zoom, that there's going to be a 40-minute limit, I think is what it's down to, without subscribing to it. And at this point in time, I just really can't justify subscribing to it. I know they were kind of fun. They were definitely way more informative. There is a way for me to record it and then post it as a live stream, if everybody's good with it, and it would talk that way. The other thing that I know a couple of people have done, and I have figured out kind of how to do it, I can live stream through a Streamlabs app, the same app I do to do my live streaming app, walking live streams. They've got a app for the PC that makes stuff like that way simpler than it does on OBD, but it's still done through OBD. It's just an overlay on top of it. So you get the functionality of it just a little bit easier. And so if people would be periodically interested in that, having somebody call up and do a guest spot on one of these live streams, to the point where we can have a little bit more interaction, at least one-on-one with the person as well as the commenters that are going on. And it's just a different way to try and jazz these up a little bit better, make them a little bit more interactive. I do appreciate the interaction this channel is getting like that. And I know this takes a chunk of time away from everybody's day. And that I appreciate you guys trying to show up whenever you can. And I definitely understand when, the times that you can't. eventually down the road, it would be nice to have enough people so that there's a few people, that are able to make the time every day without, you know, without I'm not sure how I want to say this, without the same people, needing to make time in their day every day for something like this. That we've had a few of these that there have been, very limited people on them, and that we've had a few that there's like yesterday there was only one or two people that commented for most of the entire hour, and that doesn't bother me, and it understands. Not COVID, remember, smoking. That it I don't trust this view count, but there has been a lot of times where the view count has been zero through most of it. Uh, and like I say, that there's been times it's been zero, yet I was commenting, chatting with people and responding to their comments. Well, the view count was zero. So, uh, obviously it can't be 100% correct. And, like I said the other day, bottom line, we're broadcasting all over the freaking world for free on this. So I can't kick too awful badly. We've got a Phil M couple that we're friends with back in the States that they've been married 20, 25, 28 years. And I do not envy them that their communication was they'd write a letter, stamp it, mail it, and the other person would get it in about, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. They'd read it, respond to it, stamp it, mail it, and the person that got it would finally get it in about a month. And so, that they had it timed so there was usually a letter going each direction, and so that way, typically once a month they get a letter. They just needed to make sure that they kept in mind which letter they're actually responding to. But yeah, I couldn't imagine that. And phone calls that they did try to make a phone call, and back in the 70s, 80s, whatever it was, well, it had been about the 80s, but it was like a $25, $30 phone call for like a 15-minute phone call. So calling just wasn't realistic or practical either. So that, that we're doing this in live, in real time is saying a lot. So me kicking about the view count being not 100% accurate, it is seriously whining about non-essential stuff. Uh, Cindy, even back in the States, talked with her family pretty much daily, if not multiple days. Yeah, today it's actually seeming to be pretty good. That I'm thinking there's at least four here, possibly five with Cindy, but I know there's at least three active commenters in Cindy. So today it's seeming to be pretty accurate. And I'm also in the studio. So I've got a very good, stable internet connection. I'm not trying to do cellular. So yeah, that they anybody here that it's definitely within our life. I would say within our adult lifetime, even. I wouldn't even have to say lifetime. It's been within Cindy's lifetime, but it's everybody here. It's been within our adult lifetime. That easily could have been any one of us. Uh, that my sister, when I was in high school, was state in the Air Force, stationed over in Japan and then Germany. And other than an occasional phone call, uh, letters were it, and that they did. They took that. It took about a month to get there. If she mailed it through the local mail system, it took about a month to get there. If she mailed it through the military, it took about 2, 3 weeks to get there. So, and Yeah, that wasn't that terribly long ago. And my son is 28, and he really can't remember before the internet or not having a cell phone. But both of which came in within his lifetime, but it came in early enough, quick enough that he doesn't remember not having access to it. That had to have been a little bit ago. Well, not really, because Yahoo Chat and stuff like that was pretty much the predominant thing even 12, 15 years ago. Uh, and even 12, 15 years ago, the things had changed quite a bit. Uh, yeah, it's even right now, her parents are in the Philippines. Yeah, they're in the Philippines. They're in Manila, and she's pretty much on a a couple of times a day with Mama, Papa, and everybody up there in Manila. Uh, oh, a positive note that April, John Ray's girlfriend, the one that is going to the States to teach, she literally caught the last international flight out of Manila before they stopped the international flights because of the new uh, restrictions. So she did make it out on time to go. Now they're waiting for Jill, their youngest son, the merchant marine. He was supposed to board a ship a few weeks ago, but that was part of the reason that they went to Manila is to finish up his paperwork and to get his tickets. And the flight that they had was going through the Middle East somehow or someplace that they didn't want him to go through, and so they scrapped that and are trying to do it. And I guess it's the first part of September is when the next place he can get on the ship at is that they're able to get tickets to. Very cool. That yeah, like I said, it wasn't that terribly long ago that it wasn't. I can easily I can remember going through the local BBS the bulletin board systems that the computers had before the internet. Uh, that I can remember AOL online. Uh, there were two other bigger companies, but AOL was the big one. CompuServe, I think, was one of them. And I don't, like I said, AOL and CompuServe were the two that I can remember. But they kind of were the nationwide bulletin board service that was kind of mimicking the internet, but it was still something you had to dial into, and you had that old modem that went beep, 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 buzz, buzz, and would make all that horrible noise. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I'm not remembering great on when I actually did get my first internet connection. And that was kind of sketchy at best. And that you had to have network cards and all this good stuff. And it was kind of it was basically a dedicated bulletin board service. You had to have a provider that you subscribed to and went through their node and all that good stuff. And it was just a bunch of local people that basically used to run bulletin board services and decided to branch out into that and got a node on the network and node on the internet and started reselling it, kind of like what they're doing here now. But yeah, that wasn't that terribly long ago. That we were in Phoenix, so that puts it well after '93. Uh, yeah, it was late '90s when all that stuff was going on. Uh, to the best of my understanding, Manila and Cebu have canceled outbound international flights, and I think Cebu has an extremely limited number coming in, or they may, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to go too far with that one. I'd need to go back and do some checking and searching. But I notice it's actually been that we've been on here an hour at this point, and I do try to respect you people's time, and I do appreciate you guys showing up like this. I hope there was a little bit of useful information out of today's. Uh, as I hear and know more, we'll definitely talk about it tomorrow. Depending on what goes on today, I may give it a shot and just see, go someplace normal and see what it's like. Now, Steve, I've heard that in a couple places, but I haven't seen anything official from one of the airports. So I don't know. Uh, I don't know if the airports are completely closed internationally, heavily restricted. I don't know. But that is something I do want to kind of check on today. Uh, there are a few things I want to try and get done today. So we're just going to have to see how the day develops on what actually gets done. But I am going out either way, either to Ayala or Talisay, the Wilcon. And depending on that, I will do at least a walking live stream tomorrow through the neighborhood, if nothing else. But depending on how it looks, I may try and go back out to one of the more busier areas. Yeah, I'm not terribly in love or trusting of CNN, and I'm not terribly trusting of any of the major news networks at this point. But and they all do that. They all report the worst of what's going on to make ratings. And it just depends, on which direction you want to take it and which audience you're looking for, on which side of the story that they're going to report. So it just, and that's part of the reason. I've asked you a couple times. I saw stuff going on up in northern Luzon, up in Cagayan Valley area, just because I'm getting this in the news and it sounds like it's a freaking disaster area up there, and you're saying no, it's just a localized area and all this good stuff. And sadly, that's all too often. But I will try and find out a little bit more about the airports because I am kind of curious about that myself. And yes, now that I know that there's going to be at least a couple, 3 people interested in that, probably not this month because 2 week, the third Monday. Oh, that'd be in 2 weeks. I may see about setting up on something on the 16th. That may not be too bad. I may see about doing that. Yeah, yeah, for year 2000 for internet is ancient history almost. Yeah, gotta love it. But for today from Cebu City, I'm gonna log off and mabuhay.